All right, we're going to move on to our next story. He also knows where DB Cooper is. Yeah, I believe you're correct on that one, Bacon. So let's go and check out the new allegations from about Roger Waters. Now, this has been hard for me to cover all these anti-Semitic things about Roger Waters, because I am such a big fan of Pink Floyd and a fan of Roger Waters, because Roger Waters was a large part of Pink Floyd, which he has no problem in saying any chance he gets. I don't know if he's anti-Semitic. I know that he stands for BDS, which we were looking into that, which is boycott, divestment, sanctions. Boycott, divestment, and sanctions is a Palestinian-led movement promoting boycotts, Moving Dutchman. Listen, Moving Dutchman, this is going to be a coverage of, it's going to be mostly Roger Waters being shit on. So you're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's mostly Roger Waters being shit on. Apparently some new allegations came out. And it's not looking good for Roger Waters. But so the BDS is a Palestinian-led movement promoting boycotts, divestments, and economic sanctions against Israel. Its objective is to pressure Israel to meet what the BDS movement describes as Israel's obligations under international law, defined as withdrawal from the occupied territories, removed of the separation barrier in the West Bank, full equality of Arab Palestinian citizens of Israel, and respecting, protecting, and promoting the rights of Palestinian refugees to return to their homes and their properties. The movement is organized by and coordinated by the Palestinian BDS National Committee. Good news. BDS is modeled after the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. Its proponents compare the Palestinians' plight to that of the apartheid-era black South Africans. Protests and conferences in support of the movement have been held in several countries. Its mascot, which features on its logotype, is Handala, a symbol of Palestinian identity and right to return. Now, there's this idea that Israel was created, I think, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, and that Israel was sort of plopped in the middle of Palestine and was given over to the Jewish folks because that's their rights to that land. Now, I believe that there are religious places within Israel that Islam or Muslims and the Jewish folks are both infatuated with and worship and shit. So he never said anything anti-Semitic. He's just anti-apartheid in Palestine. That card gets played a lot. Bacon, I agree. I agree with that because a lot of people, I have a direct source that is who has been to Israel and who is Muslim and has experienced and witnessed some of the terrible things that are done. Now, he's never seen any sort of genocide, which a lot of people are saying is happening, but he is saying that the Palestinians who are in Israel are being treated horribly, where their houses are just being taken by the Israeli government. Kids, people being arrested who, fight back, murder, all kinds of crazy stuff going on where they're encroaching more and more on territories that are Palestinian occupied within Israel's boundaries. Again, there's arguments from both sides, where that land was sort of taken from Palestine not too long ago. And again, I'm not against the Jews. I'm not against Israel or Palestinians. I'm just saying what people are saying about this and what's being reported. Now, I do have a source, a reliable source, who has seen some horrible things over there. Nothing on the lines of genocide, though. but definitely there is some discrimination going on. And I assume that it's the same in the Palestinian side. I've seen those, what's that website that was like chat roulette, but now it's super popular now? Meagle? No, it's not Meagle. I don't know, but I've seen terrible videos where Palestinians are talking about Jews and yeah, Omegle, yes, that's it. I don't, what was I saying, Meagle? Yeah, where a Jewish person would come on and Palestinians just go fucking ape shit and just say horrible things to the Jewish folks. So I'm sure it goes both ways on this. Because they're both, again, they're on this religious ground that they both covet. So it's a complicated situation. I'm not on anyone's side here, but I don't like the idea of, people being murdered or losing their homes just because of their religion or where they're from. But it's a different world over there, right? It's a different world, and the conflict has been going on for a very long time. So Roger Waters is a proponent of BDS. He's talked about Israel's treatment of Palestinian citizens, but Pink Floyd producer claims Roger Waters used anti-Semitic language towards band's agent. The claims come in a new documentary investigating Waters. Make that bigger. The producers of Pink Floyd's The Wall has claimed that Roger Waters exhibited anti-Semitic behavior towards the band's agent. It comes as a new documentary. The Dark Side of Roger Waters explores allegations of anti-Semitism against the Pink Floyd co-founder. Producer Bob Ezrin, in a new online documentary created by the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, claims that he once heard Waters call the band's agent, Brian Morrison, a fucking Jew during a ditty. What the fuck's a ditty? Ezrin claims something like the last line of a couplet? I'm fucking an idiot. Was cause Maury is a effing Jew. I don't feel right by saying fucking that. We'll just stick to effing Jew because that seems better. I got Jewish friends. Like, I love the Jewish folks. I think I like it, It was my first inclination that there may be some anti-Semitism under the surface. Now, Roger knew that I'm Jewish, so I didn't know whether this was another one of those sort of button-poking things that he was doing just to see if I would react, or whether he just did not even get how offensive that might be to a Jewish person. Elsewhere, saxophonist Norbert Stachel, who played for Waters, recalled the musicians angrily rejecting food in a restaurant that he allegedly deemed as Jew food. Stachel alleged Waters said, "This is Jew food. What's with the Jew food?" The fuck is Jew food? Is that matzo balls or something? Do they got any audio or video? You can claim anyway. I agree with that, Bacon. This is hearsay, but there's a whole video that we're going to watch some of here in a moment. This is let's see. Stachel continued, "I'm just sitting there. Oh boy, tongue-tied. Oh boy, tongue-tied again, and kind of in a panic because I don't know what to do. Am I supposed to leave and then be judged? I don't know, maybe." He went on to claim that Waters mocked his family. Some of were killed in the Holocaust by mimicking them. He explained he tried to go into character as Babushka, and he puts on this impression of an old hag, Stachel claimed. He tries to portray a Polish Jewish peasant woman's voice. He says, adding that Waters said, "I'll introduce you to your dead grandmother." Jesus Christ. That's pretty horrible. Documentary makers also claim Waters proposed to use anti-Semitic language on a prop during one of the stage shows after a lighting director of the show, who was Jewish, protested. Waters allegedly removed one of the slurs. Ezrin added, "Do I think he considers himself to be an anti-Semite? I'll bet you dollars for donuts he does not, and he will be the first person to say, I am not anti anything. I'm in favor of everyone. But as a person with a powerful public platform, he has a responsibility to understand that what he does affects other people." I mean, that's a fair statement. Gideon Falter, the executive of the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, said in a statement, "Roger Waters is literally a rock star. He could do anything. He's got this platform which allows him to influence tens of thousands of people at his concerts, millions of people via social media, and yet he keeps using it for this, to push the buttons of the Jews, to bait Jews, to keep on coming back to Jews. What kind of person does that with that kind of voice?" Again, Roger Waters has never been recorded saying anything where he's talking about Jewish folks in a bad way. He's just talking about Israel's occupation of Palestine. That's probably considered anti-Semitic to even say. But the treatment of the Palestinians by the Israeli government. Documentary makers put their findings to Waters, but he reportedly did not respond. The musician claimed that the segment was a statement. Hold on. In May, Waters appeared on stage at his own show wearing a black trench coat with a swastika-like emblem during a segment that revolved around a character from Pink Floyd's The Wall who imagined himself as a fictional fascist director during a hallucination. The musician claimed the segment was a statement against fascism, injustice, and bigotry, and called the criticism of it disingenuous and politically motivated, which is absolutely true. Roger Waters has been doing that bit with, I mean, if you've ever seen The fucking Wall, he's been doing that fucking bit on stage for fucking 40 years. We went into that pretty deep. I think that was a bunch of bullshit, and it all seems very politically motivated. Again, there's so much press for this documentary that I don't even think has 20,000 views on it. There's like 0 comments. So it's very interesting to me how politically how much press that this is getting. It seems politically motivated. It feels politically motivated. But again, I kind of want to go and check out some of the documentary, just see what they're saying, because it's not fair to say shit without at least seeing what they're presenting. The musician claimed that the segment was a statement against, U.S. Special Envoy to Monitor and Combat Anti-Semitism, Deborah Lipstadt, called the concert Holocaust distortion and amplified a tweet denouncing Waters by the European Commission's coordinator on combating anti-Semitism. According to Reuters, the State Department supported Lipstadt's comment and added that Waters' Berlin concert contained imagery that is deeply offensive to Jewish people and minimized the Holocaust in an email. Waters has, I mean, come on. I'm sorry, but come on. Waters has faced significant backlash following the show in Berlin. During a show on May 31st in Birmingham, he went on a rant about how pissed off he was at the anti-Semitism, close the door, anti-Semitism bullshit surrounding him over the last month, and claimed that critics are trying to cancel him like they canceled Jeremy Corbyn and Julian Assange. Julian Assange. That's a stretch, Roger. Waters has repeatedly denied all accusations of anti-Semitism and explained that his disdain towards Israel, not Judaism. He also accused Israel of abusing the term of anti-Semitism to intimidate people like me into silence, which it does seem to happen quite a bit. So before we jump into the actual video, Roger Waters was supposed to speak at UPenn, and was apparently banned from speaking. Now there's some weird stuff going on here. But Pink Floyd co-founder Roger Waters was banned from speaking on the University of Pennsylvania campus amid allegations of anti-Semitism for his wearing of Nazi-inspired uniform and displaying Nazi imagery, which, again, let's just take a look at what they're talking about. I think we can go to my website. I have this up too. So this is the outfit he's wearing. This is it. If you've ever seen, this is the cross hammers. I mean, if you've ever seen The Wall, the hammers are marching. It's a fucking psychedelic nightmare. But this is him putting on his performance that he's been doing for years. That is based on a movie that was critically acclaimed and loved by all. Pink Floyd, the band that still exists, which is just Nick Mason and fucking, what's his name? David Gilmour. They still perform songs off The Wall. When you stream it in Kick? Probably in the next couple weeks, Ziggy, because I'm still trying to figure out how to get my alerts over there. Because I can't go anywhere unless I have this. Hold on.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Because if I don't have Alex saying frogs being gay, then come on. Do I have a stream? So we're going back over here. Oh no. Oh, it's over here. The 80-year-old singer-songwriter was set to appear at the panel discussion for Palestine Rights Literature Festival Saturday, but after landing in Keystone State, he posted a video on Instagram saying he's been told that he would instead appear via Zoom. I will. Yes, the piano whistle will be there. In the video, Waters is seen thumbing through a copy of the university newspaper and the Daily Pennsylvanian, which published a story headline, Palestine Rights Festival escalates into campus-wide controversy. And he actually posted something on his Instagram. The Friday article states several Jewish students and community members wrote to school administrators condemning alleged anti-Semitism of speakers at the event. In a letter, wrote the speaker's presence on camera creates a hostile environment for Jewish students ahead of Yom Kippur, one of the holiest days on the Jewish calendar. Again, somebody who doesn't agree with you and gets shit taken out of context, banned from hearing their opinions on a subject. I mean, that is just, that is authoritarian as fuck. Pro-Israel activists also descended on the campus. In articles states, parking Jumbotron trucks and posting videos on TikTok of some of the speaker's past anti-Semitic remarks. Though the article didn't mention Waters by name, the singer appeared disturbed by the assertion, saying in the video that he was struck by the newspaper's claims he's anti-Semitic and that the student-run paper was reporting on the controversy as a diversionary tactic that turned into the big news story. Waters argued the newspaper wanted to play down the festival about Palestinian literature taking place, which is very possible. Who knows? We should back up a little, actually. If they can get you thinking and talking about anti-Semitism, then you won't be thinking about the fact that Palestinians have no human rights in occupied territories, Waters said. This is what we should be talking about in the Daily Pennsylvanian, not whether Roger Waters is an anti-Semite or not. He continued in the third person, and by the way, he's not. I know he's not. Shall I tell you how I know? I am Roger Waters. This is my heart. And it doesn't have even the slightest flicker of anti-Semitism in it anywhere. Not according to your ex-producer and saxophonist, hearsay. The singer came under fire after donning a long black coat, black gloves, black sunglasses, complete with red armband during the May 17 concert in Berlin. Like this is the first, like that was the first time he's ever done it. No, I am Roger Waters. Israel is one big tumor. Oh God, that's horrible. Jesus, that's a fucked up statement. The U.S. Department subsequently, in a statement, said Waters has a long track record of using anti-Semitic tropes, and that his Berlin concert contained imagery deeply offensive to Jewish people. Okay, minimize the Holocaust. Germans are very sensitive about the Holocaust. My recent performance in Berlin has attracted bad faith attacks from those who want to smear and silence me because they disagree with my political views and moral principles, which, yes, that's what's happening. Attempts to portray those elements as something else is disingenuous and politically motivated. When I was a child after the war, the name Anne Frank was often spoken in our house. She became a permanent reminder of what happens when fascism is left unchecked. My parents fought the Nazis in World War II, with my father paying the ultimate price. Regardless of the consequences of the attacks against me, I will continue to condemn injustice and all those who perpetuate it. Well, don't call your son Adolf. Well, no, that's... Listen, anybody who's naming their kid Adolf anymore is just trying to be an asshole. They're just trying to be a dick. Stop Anti-Semitism and Nonpartisan Organization. A nonpartisan organization has since lauded the campus ban of Waters while condemning the university for letting him speak at all. Bigots like Waters should never be given a stage to spew their venom, whether in person or virtually. It tweeted, "This hate fest will be President Liz Magill's legacy and forever a stain on pen." See, again, I don't know who was putting this thing up. This is a fucked up thing. Israel is a big tumor. That's a fucked up statement. Is that? Yeah. So they're definitely trying to bring down the president of the university. Again, it's funny that we want to shut down free speech and call people Nazis when one of the first things the Nazis did was eliminate free fucking speech. Waters was one of the several set to appear at the Palestinian Literature Festival accused of being anti-Semitic, including Palestinian author Suzanne Adu, Australian author, whatever, and illustrator Palestinian author Aya Gamane, all of whom have been slammed for previous remarks. Gamane, for example, has tweeted "Death to Israel" on various occasions. See, no, that's not right. But look, you have to be able to hear these terrible ideas so you can combat them with good ideas. Like, we got to be able to hear these things. We can't just be in a one-size-fits-all type of society, at least here in America. I kind of get it over in Germany. Like, I kind of get that. Like, I'll never get it because I'm not German, and I'm a fucking asshole American. But I can understand why Germans are like, we can never do that again, so we need to limit this shit. I understand. I get it from a cursory understanding. Let's see. Abdel. By the way, moving Dutchman, that's fine. I'm just saying I can understand why Germans don't like it. It's okay. It's okay, moving Dutchman. It's okay. You're not German. It's fine. By the way, one of our congresswomen, is that who it is? She's very anti-Semitic. She's a Muslim woman. She's hot as fuck though. Congresswoman from Minnesota. Yeah, Abdullah Omar, Congresswoman Omar is known worse than recording a hooker. Yeah, Representative Omar has also been quoted as saying, tweeting terribly anti-Semitic things. No one's going after Omar because she's on the Democratic Party, which I'm a fucking Democrat, but God, these Democrats. Let's see. So, let's see. Ilan. She's also like against white supremacy, but she's married to a white man. What's her net worth? Married to her brother? No, I think she's married to a white dude. Let's see his husband. I'm pretty sure she's married to a white dude. Oh, no, never mind. I lied. That was horrible. Sorry, I'm thinking of AOC. AOC is married to a white man, and so is Kamala Harris, which that's okay to be married to a white man. It's not a big deal. I'm just saying that it's weird how they talk about whiteism. Elon, fake news spread by W.S.E.G. Every day, baby. Listen, I'm Latinx. God damn it. I'm Latinx. Ilhan Omar has a problem with Jews. This is the American Jewish Committee. Let's see. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has a Jewish problem. Just don't sound right. Despite her repeated denials and rush to circle the wagons from some left-wing Jews, there's an unmistakable pattern. The latest iteration came earlier this week when Omar asked by CNN Jake Tapper about her past statements. Do you understand why some of your fellow House Democrats, especially Jews, find the language anti-Semitic? I've welcomed, anytime my colleagues have asked me to have a conversation to learn from them, for them to learn from me. I think it's really important for these members to realize that they haven't been partners in justice. They haven't been, equally engaging in seeking justice around the world. Now, this could be, again, I think Space Bacon made a great point, is that they'll use anti-Semitism as a sort of a way of shutting down the conversation when people are just speaking out against the treatment of Palestinians or Muslims in Israel, which, again, is happening. But, I don't know. I think that she's written some tweets and stuff, too. Anyways, let's go back over to our original article before we get way too ADHD'd off point. So this person said Abdel Fattah has also called Israel a demonic sick project and said she can't wait for the day we commemorate its end. That's a little harsh. Meanwhile, Abdul Wahhab, has called for the dismantling of Israel, which she called a colonial nation of degenerates. On her now suspended account on X, formerly Twitter, she said Israel is one big militarized tumor. Golly, just days after 7 Jews were killed in a shooting outside of a synagogue. The Palestine Rights Festival denied its speakers were anti-Semitic. No one at our festival is an anti-Semite. It said in a statement to the Jewish Chronicle, "We know the difference between Judaism and Zionism, Jews and Zionists. These are not synonymous terms." School administrators also said in a statement, "We unequivocally and emphatically condemn anti-Semitism as antithetical to our institutional values. As a university, we also fiercely support the free exchange of ideas as central to our educational mission." They said this includes expression of views that are controversial and even those that are incompatible with institutional values, which That didn't happen. They fucking banned him. University President Elizabeth Magel later told the Daily Pennsylvanian that she and other administrators had met with academic leaders and the student representatives from Penn Hillel to discuss the controversy. I'm personally committed more than ever to addressing anti-Semitism in all forms. The University of Pennsylvania has a long and proud history of being a place for all people, backgrounds of faith, and acts of anti-Semitism have no place in Penn. She caved. So now, in the end, Penn says it's BS that Waters was banned. But this article goes on to also say that he was that they didn't have time to put together the equipment because he was supposed to do it on Zoom. So Roger Waters is very good at making music. Okay. On the other hand, Roger Waters is very, very bad at making friends. This is evidenced by his notorious estrangement from Pink Floyd. Why even? That's stupid. All of this contempt and controversy is boiled over in the past few days at the University of Pennsylvania. This past weekend, notably the weekend preceding the holiest day of the Jewish year, Yom Kippur, Penn hosted the Palestine Rights Literature Festival inside the Irvine Auditorium. The festival was to celebrate Palestinian culture and perspectives and featured a variety of writers and other speakers. And one of those speakers was set to be none other than Roger Waters, who has no shortage of things to say about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. But then on Sunday afternoon came this New York Post headline. All of a sudden, Pink Floyd co-founder was banned from speaking to UPenn after accusations of anti-Semitism. The tabloid that brought us the fake news of the Hunter Biden laptop, the oldest newspaper in America, or the oldest still running newspaper in America. And they broke the Hunter Biden laptop story, which of course is Russian propaganda, right? That's why there's inquiries of impeachment of our current president and sniffer. Let's see. The tabloid referred to an Instagram post in which Waters explains that he arrived at Philadelphia International Airport only to find he wasn't allowed on campus at Penn. Naturally, all of this raises pressing issues of free speech on campus. If Penn banned Roger Waters from campus, who's next? And who is making these decisions? Here's the thing. Penn insists it didn't ban Roger Waters from its campus. According to UPenn spokesperson Ron Ozio, organizers of the Palestinian Rights Literature Festival told the school time and time again that Waters would be participating virtually, not in person. But on Wednesday, with less than 48 hours to go before the kickoff of the event, Ozio says festival organizers suddenly changed their tunes, telling Penn that Waters would attend in person. And Ozio explains that having someone like Waters attend in person would have required significant changes to event coordination, along with additional campus safety and security resources that were unavailable on such short notice. My God, 48 hours? How? How will they ever get more security and make accommodations with only 48 hours? Festival organizer Susan Adwalawa disputes Ozio's account, claiming that she... Just take the whole thing out, please. Festival organizer claims that she had informed Penn of the change to in-person closer to 72 hours in advance, and that she even raised more money to cover the cost of added security to no avail. In the end, Waters did attend the event virtually from his laptop at the airport. Hey, Roger, leave us Jews alone. Oh. Okay, so I'm done reading. My brain is fucking frying out. So let's just check out some of this video that was put out. There's so much that is humor, and I can appreciate that. So this campaign against anti-Semitism, which I wish that wasn't there. has 17,000 views, was posted 2 days ago. The actual CAA has 2.72 thousand subscribers. I have more subs than this thing, but yet they got all this press. There's a lot of press that Rolling Stone covered this story of this documentary. MSNBC, like all these different huge legacy media outlets covered this fucking this documentary from like what? Where did this come from? Like who are they? Like who is behind it? Like how does it get so much publicity and still only end up with 17,000 views? So I'm interested. I'm all in. Let's hear how bad of a bigot. Now, here's the thing. Am I if Roger Waters said these horrible things like Jew food or fucking calling people the effing Jew, did he say that? I don't know. Is there any way to confirm it? Is there recordings? Is there video? I don't believe so. But if he has said some stuff like that, does that negate from the work he's done? And does that negate from the work he's doing by speaking out against atrocities against other human beings? I don't personally think so. Personally, I think we've all said horrible things in front of our friends and people we thought we could trust. I know every single one of us has said something terrible. You know what it is. Go ahead and think about it. You know what it is. About a certain race or certain genders or certain somebody. I know when I was a kid and being able to call people gay, shut up, moving Dutchman. I know like when I was a kid, calling people like gay all the time was the thing to do. We all have some terrible things.
Why are you gay?
It's still funny. It's still funny. I mean, we used to call each other gay all the time, and now that's, I get it. Culture moves on, and I'm totally okay with not calling people gay in a pejorative manner. That's totally fine. Or saying the F word. I don't say the F word, I don't say, and not fuck. I just don't say the other word. I don't, it's just something I don't do. Have I said it before? A lot. When I was younger, that was the culture then. And that's what always stumps me about these new social justice warriors who like taking things out of context of culture and making it and bringing it up to today's standards. It's like, it was a different time. You go and watch these movies. It's all over the movie. Homophobia was everywhere. By the way, Family Guy has said horrible things about the Jews on network TV. They didn't get canceled. It's just the hypocrisy of picking and choosing because you're not aligning with a particular narrative, and that shit gets dangerous. So let's watch some of this, and let's watch and for Moving Dutchman's viewing pleasure, let's watch some Roger Waters bashing.
The Israeli government sees me as an existential threat to their settler colonialist racist apartheid regime. That is why now. And they've done everything that they can think of to discredit me and try and destroy my career and, if possible, destroy me and my family.
Rock star Roger Waters has been promoting what many regard as classic anti-Semitic tropes for years.
If we shout the lie loud enough, Roger Waters is an anti-Semite, we'll be all right. We'll get people to believe it. We can vilify him, we can probably destroy him, and we will get him in the end. Well, no, you aren't.
I'm John Ware, working with the charity Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, and I'm going to examine the evidence for the charge that Roger Waters is an anti-Semite. I talked to people who've worked closely with him and who are speaking...
Anti-Semite. That's how fucking British people say anti-Semite. And it sounds like anti-Seaman. Okay, I'm a child.
Publicly for the first time.
He does things and says things that Jewish people take as an attack against us as a group.
This dish comes, and Roger kind of pushes it with his arm, and he goes, "That's it! This is Jew food! What's with the Jew food?"
Dark side of Roger Waters.
If you're one of those, I love Pink Floyd, but I can't stand Roger's politics, people, you might do well to fuck off to the bar.
I support that shit. Like, say it. Say what you are so we know who you are. Bring it out onto the light.
In June 2023, at the O2 Arena in London, the former Pink Floyd band member Roger Waters took a break from his concert to make an announcement.
There's a lady who lives, I think, somewhere in London, tweeted appalling things about me.
That lady is author Polly Sampson. She's married to Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour and has known...
Oh, shit. I remember when she was fucking... And she's kind of hot, though. She's married to fucking old-ass, fucking shriveled-up old balls Gilmour. By the way, David Gilmour is a guitar god.
Waters for years. She tweeted that Waters is an anti-Semite to his rotten core. A megalomaniac and a misogynist.
Megalomaniac, I can definitely see that. I can definitely see Roger Waters being he is a megalomaniac. I don't know about the other stuff. Maybe he's anti-Semitic. I don't know. He says he's not, but let's find out.
She talked about me being an
There you go. She said it. Listen, it's David Gilmour's wife, who David Gilmour was in a band with this man for over 20, 30 years. So, I mean, that is a close source. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he might be an anti-Semite. It might be in there.
Semite to my rotten core.
Yes.
Well, all I have to say about Polly Sampson is, imagine waking up to that every morning.
Maybe a very valid source. But how often is Polly around Roger Waters? How often did David Gilmour go around Roger Waters with his wife? How long has Roger Waters been married to Polly? Let's see. Because Roger Waters hasn't been a part of Pink Floyd since the 80s. So, Polly Sampson, I'm an idiot. How long married David Gilmour? English novelist, lyricist, and she's married to Pink Floyd guitarist and has written lyrics to many of Gilmour's songs, including Pink Floyd's last two albums. That's why they sucked. Sampson's father is Lance Sampson, newspaper editor, diplomatic correspondent. Division Bell is actually not a bad album. I guess I should reword this. Polly Sampson David has been married since 1994. So that's a very long time. It's a very, very long time, but that was post Roger being involved with David Gilmour. So maybe David Gilmour told her that. Well, here's the thing about that tweet that Polly wrote is that Gilmour actually came out and says he confirms everything. He actually came out and retweeted it and said, I can confirm all of this. So, we have another person who's saying that he's anti-Semitic, misogynist, and a megalomaniac. Even closer. Absolutely, Moving Dutchman. You're absolutely right. Even closer. So, there you go. Let's keep watching the Roger bashing.
To end it with, can you imagine waking up with that every morning?
That's fine. funny, though.
No matter what the motivation is, it's just, it's incendiary, it's sexist, it's provocative, and it's unnecessary.
Well, she also just called him an anti-Semite, a misogynist, and a megalomaniac. So, I mean, I would say that, you know, he's just responding to some terrible things that she called him.
Bob Ezrin is a legend in the music business. He's worked with everyone from Taylor Swift to Kiss, from Lou Reed to U2.
Polyrax.
Alice Cooper likened him to the hugely influential producer of the Beatles, George Martin. Ezrin co-produced the Wall album by Pink Floyd when Roger Waters was still a band member and has known him for decades.
Roger is a brilliant songwriter. He's a brilliant poet. Somehow he marries language with melody in the most effortless way, so it just falls out of your mouth, you know, and it just feels natural, and it is universally relatable. Not only were Roger and I partners in the music, we were also friends. Roger's a really complicated guy. He is exquisitely sensitive and insensitive at the same time. There were other times when he was really tender and very sweet, and I loved the man. I did.
Do you love him now?
Part of me still loves him.
He wants to have sex and marry him.
Part of me is very upset with him for positions that he's taking in the public that affect me as a Jew and affect my people and my family and my friends. And I feel that's why I have to do this interview and speak about it publicly.
Come on.
Norbert Stachel was once Waters' saxophonist, touring with him.
Saxophonist. British people talk stupid.
All over the world. Like Ezrin, he too is Jewish, a fact that Waters took great interest in.
Well, he's looking at me and he says, you know, Norbert, I'd like to take this opportunity to maybe get to know you a little bit better. And I told him a little bit about my family background, that they're Ashkenazi Jews, that they're Holocaust survivors from Minsk and Poland. And he kind of was smiling in a kind of a awkward way. He says, how about other relatives? Are there relatives on your father's side? I said, not that I'm aware of. I think most of them were killed. He went, oh. He says, I can help you feel like you're meeting your long-lost relatives. I'll introduce you to your dead grandmother. I can do a good Polish peasant, an imitation, an impression of a Polish peasant woman. He tried to go into character as a babushka, and he puts on this impression of an old hag. You know, he does it, he makes his voice a certain way. He tries to portray a Polish Jewish peasant woman's voice. It was kind of like a slapstick, insulting way someone would think a person of no education and low class and maybe not real smart would speak and talk. What got me is after he does this, he goes, now you've met your grandmother, how do you feel now?
Why did he want to do this, you know?
Because he knew that I wouldn't challenge him on it, because I wanted his money and I wanted his gig.
It was a power.
I wanted the power thing. Yeah, that's all.
Wait, did he take the money? Did he play the gig? He did. He did take the money. He did play the gig.
An arrogance thing and maybe an evil thing.
I would say that's pretty evil. I mean, it would be nice to be there and see what actually took place. What was the environment? Were they joking? Was he laughing? Was the saxophonist, whatever? Was it a joke to him? Did he take it as a joke? I mean, that seemed a pretty terrible thing to say to somebody. I mean, if that happened.
Bit of Roger that's a megalomaniac. There's a bit of Roger that's he's a bit narcissistic. He is a bit. Roger is kind of rock and roll's Donald Trump on certain levels. You know?
That's kind of a good thing. He is such a pompous cocksucker. Roger Waters is a dick. There's no doubt about that. He is a cocksucker.
In 2002, Norbert Stachel was with Roger Waters in Bangkok.
There's this thing called the ping pong, where apparently women, they'd use their womanly parts of their body to do strange things, like to impress people. They train themselves to peel bananas, or carry bowling balls across the stage, or shoot ping pong balls out
of their vaginas.
Out of their vagina?
Yeah.
What was he asking you to do?
He ordered me in front of everybody, but it's not something I particularly want to go watch. And then Roger threatened me in a funny way, like showing me who's boss. Norbert, if you don't do this, it could jeopardize your position in the band. And I said, oh, really? Why? You want me to play saxophone for you, right?
By the way, that's what Lizzo is being accused of. Almost the same exact thing, is forcing people to go see these sex shows. But I think it was in Amsterdam, so that's interesting. That does seem like a power play. That's interesting.
Why do I have to go watch women do these things with their body, with their vagina? What does that have to do with
because it's funny.
A good musical job in your band?
What was behind it, as you understood it?
As far as I understand it, again, it's a power trip. You know, to show he's the boss, you do what I say or else. I pay you well, I give you gifts, I wine and dine you, I fly you in nice airplanes and put you on big stages with nice lights on you and let you play your little saxophone, and shame on you.
He's a bully. Roger can be a bully.
He seems like a bully.
He's been a bully forever, for as long as I know anyway. And it's a word that people around him, who've been around him for a long time, use over and over and over. He's a bully. And what are bullies? Bullies are people who find the weak spot in others to make themselves feel more powerful, and they push those weak spots over and over again.
Waters appeared to pick a weak spot when Bob Ezrin came to England to co-produce Pink Floyd's iconic The Wall album 4 decades ago. Ezrin recalls that Waters came up with an impromptu ditty about Pink Floyd's agent at the time, Brian Morrison, who was himself Jewish.
I can't remember the exact circumstance, but something like, the last line of the couplet was, "'Cause Maury is a fucking Jew." It was my first inclination that there may be some anti-Semitism under the surface. Now, Roger knew that I'm Jewish, so I didn't know whether this was another one of those sort of button-poking things that he was doing just to see if I would react, or whether he just didn't even get how offensive that might be to a Jewish person.
And when you said to him, well, what did you say to him?
I'm embarrassed to say that I was so shocked that I didn't say anything.
But he was laughing. I bet his ass was laughing right along with Roger Waters.
I had no idea what was behind that, or whether I was, did he expect to get a rise, in which case I wasn't going to do anything? Was he really clueless? And I probably should have said, that's not funny. But this was early on in the relationship, and I kind of chalked it up to, just stupidity on his part, and also to what I understood to be a kind of nascent anti-Semitism that existed in England and in many places around the world.
we're familiar with...
And you know, again, culture in a different time. There was another time when people could say whatever the fuck they wanted to say. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it okay, but that's the culture of the time. It's just is what it is.
Roger Waters' button pushing.
Again, not trying to defend Roger here because there's some pretty strong evidence that he doesn't like Jewish people.
With his baiting of Jews. He's taken Israelis and compared them to Nazis. I mean, within living memory of the Holocaust, that is about the most wounding thing that you can say to a Jew, is that they're like the Nazis.
But if they are exterminating people based on, you know, just differences in religion or beliefs or just where they're from, that kind of is fucking on a level. If there's genocide going on, that is kind of Nazi-like. Not calling the Jews Nazis, of course, or Israel Nazis. But if there is genocide going on, and again, I can't confirm if genocide's going on over there. I know, again, I can confirm that there is a fucking definite mistreatment of the Palestinians over there. You know, that is Nazi-like.
Says that Zionism should be gently removed. Now, Zionism is the emancipation, liberation movement of Jews. It's a necessary call for Jews to be afforded the same rights of self-determination as enshrined in Article 1 of the United Nations Charter, as afforded to all other peoples. But for us, Roger thinks they should be gently removed. Now,
what the fuck does gently removed mean?
In a world where the vast majority of Jews consider themselves to be Zionists, what are we supposed to make of this idea of being removed? When we hear him say, for example, that certain politicians are in hock to Tel Aviv, they're the puppets of Tel Aviv.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what's going on, if there's genocide going on over there, but there is definitely some mistreatment, and they mistreat each other. You're absolutely right, Moving Dutchman.
What are we supposed to make of that?
Yeah, that's just so people, though. It's just such a human thing.
When he says that Israelis have taught the Americans how to, quote, murder the blacks, which is actually something he ended up apologizing for, but he did say it. What are we supposed to make of that? What are we supposed to make of it when he says that there is a Jewish lobby in the music industry? I mean, it keeps coming back to a question, which is that Roger Waters is literally a rock star. He could do anything. He's got this platform which allows him to influence tens of thousands of people at his concerts, millions of people via social media, and yet he keeps using it for this, to push the buttons of Jews, to bait Jews, to keep on coming back to Jews. What kind of a person does that with that kind of a voice?
Roger Waters has consistently denied he's an anti-Semite.
I can't get past the way they say Semite.
Anti-Semite? Anti-Semite?
I can't stand when Roger Waters is trying to be something. Like you can tell that he's trying. Like, doesn't feel natural. Anti-Semite? Anti-Semite? Again, is he anti-Semitic? It's looking like it. It's looking like it, but this is what documentaries do. This is what documentaries do. They paint a very strong picture and a narrative.
An anti-Semite? Are you insane?
But he does like bad acting.
I don't
That's
believe
what it
that
is.
Roger sees himself as an anti-Semite. And in the same way that most people don't see themselves as racist. If you say to somebody, are you a racist? They'll say absolutely not.
Clearly, I don't have an anti-Semitic bone in my body. I never have. I've never done anything anti-Semitic. I've never said anything anti-Semitic.
We're at a very traditional restaurant of a specific kind of Lebanese cuisine. And the waiters kept bringing over dish after dish after dish after dish. And so far, there was no meat on any of these dishes. It was all vegetarian-based stuff. And these musicians were complaining, and Roger had to speak up as the spokesperson, I guess, and take charge because he's the boss. And what he says goes because he's Roger Waters. Finally, the 12th or 13th dish came out. The waiter seemed intimidated already by the attitude and personalities and the loudness and that kind of arrogance.
Which, by the way, musicians are just fucking loud bastards. Degenerates, really. All of them. Every single fucking one of them.
Finally, this dish comes, and Roger kind of pushes it with his arm, and he goes, "That's it! That's it! Where's the meat? Where's the meat? What's with this? This is Jew food. What's with the Jew food? Take away the Jew food!" And I'm just sitting there, oh boy, tongue-tied again, and
taking the money,
kind of in a panic.
Taking the money and the clout.
Leave and then be judged.
Leave and be judged? How about you stick to your morals? If it was that important to you, then you get the fuck up and you go. But obviously, he was a part of the fucking the nonsense.
Waters' concerts are as much about protest politics as rock and roll. For years, their enduring symbol has been a floating, inflatable pig.
I think Roger sees himself as an anti-fascist. I think Roger sees himself as someone who opposes racism and opposes totalitarianism and opposes stereotypes and all that stuff. He sees himself that way, and I think in his mind that pig was symbolic of all the bad thinking people have about other people in the world, and he assimilated it into one symbol that floats over top of the audiences at his concert.
We've had access to some of Waters' internal emails from 2010 when he was planning a worldwide tour. Amongst the symbols he suggested should be stuck on the pig were Stars of David and the following epithets: dirty kike, follow the money, scum. Kike is a notoriously offensive word used to denigrate.
Scum? Like, why is scum offensive? I mean, if it's just written on the pig. Dirty kike is pretty bad, though.
Jews.
There is a pig,
pretty bad.
And it has a number of symbols on it, including the crucifix and the star and crescent. The Star of David is only part of a group of symbols that represent dogma.
Waters maintains he's highlighted racism and religious dogma with all sorts of symbols.
Maybe, but the juxtaposition between dirty kike, follow the money, scum, a Star of David, all stuck on a pig, was especially incendiary, and for Jews, crossed the line.
That's... That one's a stretch. Having dirty kike on there is terrible, but that's a stretch to have everything, especially when there's all those religious symbols.
The problem is...
But dirty, I don't even like saying it. The dirty K word, that's pretty bad. That's kind of shitty. That's real shitty. I shouldn't say kind of. That's real shitty.
The pig has a Star of David. Nobody really understands the profound meaning that Roger will ascribe to the pig. They just see symbols of anti-Semitism. And so for the anti-Semites in the audience, that's a rallying cry. That's a flag they can follow.
After protests from his lighting director, who was also Jewish, Waters abandoned the epithet about dirty kike. However, he pressed on with another idea, showering his fans with confetti.
In this email, Waters proposes that amongst other religious symbols, a Star of David, a $sign, and a swastika should be dropped like bombs as part of the visual content of the wall show.
Smarting from his lighting director's objection to Dirty Kike, Waters commented to the rest of his team by email, and I quote, "I gather that at least one of us is offended by the inclusion of at least one of these symbols." Now, Waters knew that the person he referred to as one of us, his lighting director, was Jewish.
In fact, at the opening show, there were no swastikas. Waters settled for dollar signs being dropped after Stars of David. There were still protests, though, this time from the public.
Roger Waters says, "Okay, I can see people are offended. We'll just have the Star of David next time."
Look, the dimness of it is just astounding to me because he's such a smart guy. And,
But this is the Trump element.
This is the Trump element. The Trump element here is Roger's on a soapbox. At the end of the day, he doesn't really, really care how we feel about it. But I care.
Despite protests, Waters continued floating the pig with the Star of David stamped on it until the summer of 2013. Ten years on, Waters often compares Israel to the Nazis, who tried to wipe Jews off the face of the earth. In his recent tour, he likened the fatal shooting by an Israeli soldier of Palestinian reporter Shireen Abu Akleh with the murder of Anne Frank, one of the 6 million Jews who died in the Holocaust. US authorities have said that unlike Anne Frank, the reporter was likely killed accidentally.
Likely killed accidentally?
One of the devices that Roger uses.
Likely she was killed accidentally. All right. Well, I think we've got about enough of that. I am going to say it is fucked up, the things that, if he said those things like to those Jewish folks, some of it's yes, enough to cancel. I just don't think that he's cancelable. He's just maintained such a presence. I mean, he's more popular than for a live show, he's more popular than Pink Floyd. I don't know. Canceling him doesn't seem... I just don't like the idea of canceling people. And these wrong ideas need to be seen. All right, well, he's been canceled. Roger Waters is canceled. But yeah, I mean, this is compelling evidence. The dirty K word thing is not great. That's not a great look. Not a good look at all. And if he is saying the things he's saying in closed quarters, that does make him a piece of shit. I'll always, in all the time that I've, talked about Roger, I've always maintained that he is an asshole. Like he is such a prick. Yeah, but doesn't negate the art that he's put out over the years. No, I still love Pink Floyd. I still love the music that they put out. I'm not going to stop listening to Pink Floyd because Roger Waters is an asshole. I mean, if an R. Kelly song comes on at a wedding, I'm I'm stepping in the name of love. Okay? It is called dementia. It might be, but it seems like he's had these outlooks for a very long time. He's always been outspoken about what he's about. So, yeah, it's some compelling evidence here. If you guys want to watch the rest of this, I'll drop it in the link here, and I'll if you're listening on audio, I dropped it in the show notes for you guys, so you can go check out the entire documentary, which we have about 17 more minutes, but I'm hungry, and